You stepped off the plane carrying everything you owned in a single suitcase. One backpack, one dream, and exactly $500. Not 5,000, not 50,000, 500. The airport was louder than you expected. People rushed past you without looking. Announcements echoed overhead. Taxi drivers shouted for customers. For the first time in your life, nobody knew who you were, and nobody cared. You looked at the money in your wallet, $500. That number suddenly felt very small, because this wasn't vacation money. This was survival money. This money had to become your future, and if it didn't, you had nowhere to go. The room cost more than expected. The food cost more than expected. The transportation cost more than expected. Everything cost more than expected. After paying for a tiny room that barely fit a bed, your $500 became $362. $362. You stared at the number on your phone. You had been in America for less than 48 hours, and already more than a quarter of your money was gone. The dream suddenly felt fragile. Very fragile. The next morning, you started applying for jobs. Restaurants, warehouses, retail stores, construction companies, anywhere. Every day became the same routine. Wake up, apply, wait, hope, repeat. Some places never replied. Some rejected you immediately. Others told you they needed someone with experience. Experience. The one thing nobody could get without first getting hired. Weeks passed. Your savings kept shrinking. $300, $250, $200, $170. Every rejection felt heavier than the last. At night, you stared at the ceiling, wondering if you had made the biggest mistake of your life. Then one afternoon, your phone rang. A small warehouse needed help. The pay wasn't great. The work wasn't glamorous, but it was work. You accepted immediately. The shifts were long. The boxes were heavy. The days felt endless. But something interesting happened. While everyone else focused on their tasks, you started paying attention. You watched the owner. He wasn't lifting boxes. He wasn't running around. Yet somehow, he made more money than everyone in the building combined. That observation changed everything. Most employees asked, "How do I earn more?" You started asking, "How does he earn more?" It was a completely different question. The owner wasn't selling his time. He was selling a system. Customers paid the business paid employees, the difference stayed with him. For the first time, you realized something. Working harder wasn't necessarily the path to wealth. Building something bigger than yourself was. You saved every dollar you could. No expensive clothes, no expensive food, no unnecessary spending. Months later, you had enough money to try something. You started a small cleaning business. It wasn't exciting. Nobody dreamed of owning a cleaning company, but it was affordable, and it solved a real problem. Your first customer paid you $80. You couldn't stop smiling. That night, you felt rich. Not because of the money, because someone had paid for something you built. The excitement didn't last. Customers canceled, equipment broke, expenses piled up. Competition increased. Within months, the business was struggling. Eventually, it collapsed. Just like that. Gone. The money was gone. The effort was gone. The dream felt farther away than ever. Most people would have quit. And honestly, you almost did. One evening, while reviewing everything that went wrong, you noticed something. You were the business. Every customer, every task, every problem, every decision, everything depended on you. If you stopped working, the business stopped working. You hadn't built a business. You had built a job. And jobs don't scale. That realization became the most valuable lesson of your life. The next business was different. You documented processes. You created checklists. You hired carefully. You trained people. You delegated responsibility. Instead of asking, "How can I work harder?" you asked, "How can this work without me?" The results were shocking. Customers increased, revenue increased, profit increased. The business kept running even when you weren't there. For the first time, you weren't selling time, you were building leverage. Years passed. One location became two, two became five, five became 10. Managers handled operations, teams handled customers, systems handled consistency. What started with $500 became something much larger. Not overnight, not through luck, not through shortcuts, but through thousands of small decisions repeated over time. The empire had finally arrived. One afternoon, you drove past the small apartment where everything started. The building looked exactly the same. The room was still tiny, the neighborhood was still crowded, but something was different. You. You sat quietly for a moment, remembering the fear, the uncertainty, the nights you almost gave up, the days you doubted yourself. And then you smiled, because the most important thing wasn't the money, it wasn't the business, it wasn't the empire, it was understanding a simple truth. Most people spend their lives trying to earn more. Few spend their lives trying to build systems. That's the difference. Hard work can create income, but systems create freedom. And the moment you stop selling your time, everything changes. The $500 were never the advantage. The dream wasn't the advantage either. The real advantage was learning how to build something that could grow beyond you. And that's how an immigrant arrived in America with $500 and built an empire.